Good afternoon. Afternoon. Thanks for coming to this one-day sit, this Zazen Kai, as we call it. It's nice to see y'all. Um, and today's talk has a soundtrack going on underneath. I hope it's not too distracting. But we sit with what is, whatever it is, whether it's a fountain bubbling, or birds squawking, or sirens screeching, or singers singing and trumpeters trumpeting. We incorporate everything into not just our practice, but ourselves. So that song that I'm listening to, that is me. What does that feel like? Exhibit A. So yeah, I wanted to talk about a koan today. Koans are kind of like practice parables, practice points, practice toys in a way that we use in Zen. And by sitting with the koans, investigating, becoming the koans, we really get to kind of chip away at all of our ideas and concepts, all the things that we're holding on to. So before I get into that, just a couple logistic things, kind of practice form things that might be helpful for everyone. Number one, just a reminder that like when you come into the Zendo, right, we all know like you take your little bow when you walk in. And then anytime we're walking around the Zendo or going to grab our cushion or waiting for something, we're always in shashu, right? So you grab your left thumb and put your right hand over it like this. So it's just, you know, a good way to just keep your presence here instead of letting your arms swing or have your hands in your pockets. So yeah, just be mindful. As soon as you enter the Zendo, we're always in Shashu unless we're sitting, like with this thing or in Gasho. And the other thing I wanted to mention is about this, what we do with our hands during meditation. Um, so as we all know and as we're all doing, you put your left hand over right hand and you touch your thumbs, so you get this little oval, right? And it's not a bad idea to kind of check in with your hands throughout the sitting. Very often, here I'm just gonna move the camera here so everyone can see. But very often, people will start like this, have a nice strong oval, and then within a few minutes you start to see this. And the thumbs just kind of collapse, or maybe the hands go down like this. And it's fine. Nothing's wrong or bad about that. But I don't know, just try it. See if you check in with your hands a little bit. That might have ramifications for where your mind is at as well. Because I know that when I notice my thumbs collapsing like that, it's probably because I'm either falling asleep or my mind is wandering somewhere else. So use your body, right? Meditation is kind of a physical practice, and we can use our body as kind of a touch point into this moment, because your body is always in this moment. Our mind can go here and there, but your body is kind of a nice compass in a way. So yeah, just something to take note of. Where's my back? Where's my neck? Where are my thumbs? So hopefully that's helpful in some kind of way. Okay, so we're doing this one day sit. We're sitting all morning, afternoon, evening, and it's just so nice to see new people here and older people here. Um, really diving in. It's quite inspiring. And so there's this one koan that talks about someone in samadhi. Samadhi is a Sanskrit word? Anyone? I think it's a Sanskrit word. It's part of the Eightfold Path, right? Samadhi. And it's basically like total concentration. Really just calm, still mind, being present in this moment. That's samadhi. And yoga talks about it, Buddhism talks about it. It's kind of like a pretty general meditative phrase. And we're doing a lot of it today. Hopefully, everyone here is, deepening their relationship with samadhi today. It's kind of what the intensive sitting is about. Um, and I'll also just kind of offer that samadhi is not transactional, right? We're not going into samadhi so that we can get something, or so that we can become something, or figure something out, or get something. Just be samadhi. Let go of any expectations or returns, gains. There's not much ROI in this practice, if you think of it in those terms. So, let's check out this fun story. It's a long one. Once, long ago, the world-honored one came to the place where many Buddhas were assembled. When Manjushri arrived there, the Buddhas all returned to their original places. Only a woman remained, close to the Buddha seat in deep meditation. Manjushri spoke to the Buddha. Why can a woman be close to the Buddha seat and I cannot? The Buddha told Manjushri, you awaken this woman from her meditation and ask her for yourself. Manjushri walked around the woman 3 times, snapped his fingers, and took her up to the Brahma heavens, and tried with all his supernatural powers, but he was unable to bring her out of meditation, or samadhi. The world-honored one said, even hundreds of thousands of Manjushris wouldn't be able to bring her out of samadhi. Down below, past 1,200,000,000 countries, as innumerable as the sands of the Ganges, there is a bodhisattva called Momyo. He will be able to awaken her from meditation. And then in an instant, Momyo emerged from the earth and worshipped the world-honored one. The world-honored one gave him the order. Momyo then walked to the woman, snapped his fingers once, and at this, the woman came out of samadhi. So, let's take a look and see what this has to do with our life. Once, long ago, the world-honored one, so that's the Buddha, it's kind of another name for Buddha, came to the place where many Buddhas were assembled. And I think there's kind of a backstory here. I can't remember it exactly, but basically all these Buddhas decided to have a little conference. They wanted to discuss something or work on something, and they very specifically did not invite Manjushri. He was left out. So already we can kind of relate to this. I think we've all been left out of things before. What does that feel like? But Manjushri's like, he's got Fomo, and he doesn't care. He's just courageously, he goes anyway. He finds out where the party is and makes his way there. So when Manjushri arrived with all these cool people, right? The popular kids are having a party, and he finds out where it is, and he shows up. When Manjushri arrived there, the Buddhas all returned to their original places. So just this one sentence is kind of a koan in itself. So, arriving at the place of Buddhas. Has anyone here maybe fantasized about that? Getting to the place of enlightenment? getting to the place where I'm like all the other good people. Basically arriving somewhere other than just my life. My friends, my house, my cat aren't good enough. I want to go to the cool party. I want to be over there. So just look at this arriving. Manjushri arrives where the Buddhas are. There's so much there. And what do we learn? Whenever we arrive at the place we want to get to, it's never what we thought it was. Very often kind of disappointing. So yeah, I encourage you, kind of like the samadhi thing, don't really worry about arriving anywhere. You're already here. That's kind of the deal. Our life as it is enlightened, awakened, without suffering. But we have all of these conditions and thoughts and attachments that we put on top of this moment, and so we don't see that just this is all there is. We want to arrive somewhere else. So he arrives, and all the Buddhas returned to their original dwelling place. So first of all, what is the Buddha's original dwelling place? That would be kind of the first main practice point in this koan if you're working on it. The Buddha's original dwelling place. What does that feel like? It feels like pure, untainted, original, organic, natural. What is your natural dwelling place? What could the Buddha's natural dwelling place be? I don't think it has anything to do with arriving anywhere. So they all leave, but a woman remains close to the Buddha in deep samadhi. So a little bit of context, and it's not really appropriate or relevant anymore, but back in the day when a story like this would have been written, women are considered less than, defiled. For a long time, the Buddha didn't even allow women to practice with him. He had to be convinced. Pretty gross stuff. A lot of gross patriarchy in Buddhist history. So instead of woman, think of just the worst person. Just the bully, the asshole, just the biggest thorn in your side. I think that's the point here. And how come they can sit right next to the Buddha? But I can't, right? And Manjushri, for a little more context, Manjushri is this guy. He's the Bodhisattva of great wisdom. And in some Buddhist accounts, he's the teacher of the Buddha. He's like the person, the best, the wisest, the deepest, whatever you want to say. So why is it that even the teacher of the Buddha can't sit next to the Buddha while this terrible, smelly, awful, mean, selfish person gets to sit right next to the Buddha? So again, how does that resonate with me? I certainly know that. In my music career, how come that person who writes terrible songs and has a terrible voice, how come they got the deal that I wanted? Or that mean, smelly girl, how come she got the hot popular guy? How come that bad surfer got the best wave of the day? I don't know, I've never surfed. I don't know if that's relevant or not. Um, but I think we all know that. That jealousy, that comparison, that judgment. Um, One of the ethical precepts of Buddhism is not elevating myself and putting down others. So Manjushri, the great wise bodhisattva who taught the Buddha, is here whining. How come she gets to be there and I can't be there? I wanted to come to the party. It's an interesting role he's playing for us. So he does this whining to the Buddha, and the Buddha says, well, why don't you awaken this woman from samadhi and ask her yourself? And traditionally, we don't really talk about this too much, but as I was thinking about it today, I just thought, that's a beautiful teaching in and of itself. Talk directly to people. It's so important. Oh my God, we gossip so much. And we're so afraid to talk to people. I want to complain to this person about that person way before I want to just go to the person and just ask. In fact, Sweetwater has spent a lot of time developing a grievance policy, right? We have a community, we're dealing with like sensitive, deep stuff, and so conflicts come up, grievances come up. And the first official step in the grievance process is talk directly to the person. If you need a mediator, we have mediators available. But yeah, hopefully this Zazen practice does help us to kind of feel free enough and confident enough to speak to each other directly. It's amazing how often, we're scared to bring something up to someone, and then you do, and it in fact makes you closer. Maybe it's a tough conversation, maybe there's got to be some compromises or some changes, but man, the depth of intimacy that can arise through conflict, through ironing out wrinkles together, so powerful. And yeah, for me, lots of Zazen really does kind of help to shed all of that fear, all of those guards, that need to be liked all the time, to not create waves. Let that go and trust. Trust yourself, trust the person, and just offer it's like a gift. It's a gift to like speak your mind to someone, especially if you do it compassionately. Yeah, so I've never really thought about that in this koan before. But like, don't complain to me. Talk to her. See what's up with her, or whatever this person is. So Manjushri walks around her 3 times and snaps his fingers and takes her up to the Brahma heaven. Very dramatic stuff here. And tries all of his supernatural powers, but unable to bring her out of her meditation. So Manjushri, poor Manjushri, he's not invited to the party. He can't sit next to the Buddha. He can't perform this simple task. So, I guess kind of the main way that people kind of comment on this koan is that it's kind of like a play. It's kind of like a big show that everyone's putting on. And it's directed by the Buddha, and Manjushri's kind of playing this role where he's like the whiny guy with a chip on his shoulder. All for our benefit, to look at this. When do I feel excluded? And when do I compare myself to others and wish I had what they had? And when I can't perform a task, when I fail, how does that feel? Where is that coming from? Right? And it's not to say you should never feel excluded and you should never compare yourself and you should never feel bad for failing. That's not really the point. The point is, how do we live with these things? So if your very, very best friend excludes you from something, then like that should hurt. But if you just kind of want to be a part of the cool kids and feel bad that you're not, well, maybe that's your ego. And if you've put in 30 years of work at the job, but the new person gets the promotion because their dad is friends with the boss or whatever, that's not cool. And you should speak up. How come they get the job and I can't get it? But if someone else just as worthy as you got it, but you maybe think you're better, well, then maybe see where that's coming from. And then failing. How do we live with failing? Maybe it's a lesson for us to actually do better and learn some more skills. And maybe it's something that just, just didn't happen for whatever reason, and I don't want to let my ego get in the way any further. So, yeah, again, these koans, Buddhist ethics, the teachings of the Buddha, the things that come up for us during meditation, there's no absolutes. It's not about finding the right way, arriving in the right place. It's all about just being like water, fluid, accepting when really loud music is playing next door. Can I just incorporate that into this moment? Or is it so loud that I can't give a Dharma talk and we should leave? That's the power of this practice, to really be able to be in flow with whatever is. So yeah, so Manjushri tries all these things, can't bring her out of meditation, she's in samadhi, and he's like, yeah, he's all flustered, and the Buddha says, even hundreds of thousands of Manjushris would be unable to bring her out of meditation. One teacher I heard talk about, like, yeah, Manjushri is, this bodhisattva of another realm, so of course he can't communicate with just some mortal person. No matter what 10,000 gods and deities and demons or whatever do, it's just not, they can't communicate with us. So just accept what your situation is. If you're 4 feet tall, you probably won't be able to dunk a basketball on a regulation rim. So don't waste time worrying about it. Just accept. You'll be able to jockey the Kentucky Derby way easier than LeBron James, that's for sure. So yeah, he says not even a bazillion Manjushris could awaken this woman. But below 1,200,000,000 countries, no idea what that means, as innumerable as the sands of the Ganges. I guess we can just figure, down below in the muck. Westerners might think hell. But just in the dirty down below place, there is a bodhisattva named Momyo. He will be able to awaken her from meditation. In an instant, Momyo emerged from the earth, worshipped the world-honored one, and then he goes to the woman, snaps his fingers once, and the woman comes out of samadhi. So this dirty underworld, and Momyo, God, he doesn't have it in this translation. Momyo apparently means is the bodhisattva of delusive wisdom. Delusive wisdom. And so yeah, he just emerges and gets the woman out of her samadhi with just a snap of the fingers. So this delusive wisdom is an interesting name. What is not delusive wisdom? In a way, all wisdom is delusive, deluding us. That's a really important point for me. For the same reason we were talking about, not like holding on to anything, right? We may think, like going back earlier in the koan, like, just be okay if you're not invited to something. Well, sure, that's wisdom sometimes. But if your whole team at work is meeting without you and you're the boss, like that's mutiny. That's going to ruin the business. And so the wisdom there would be to shut that shit down. So yeah, anytime we, say, oh, that's wisdom, really be careful of holding on to that, because it can very quickly become delusion. Try to think of anything that is just universally true all the time. Be compassionate, maybe. Maybe that's wisdom. Anyway, so again, I think this is all just a big elaborate play, a big show to get us to really look at how we perceive achievement and failure, winning, losing, better, worse. All these ways that we separate delusion, wisdom. I don't know, something I thought of that I'll offer. We always want to say that, this is delusion and that is wisdom, and this person is a mess and that person has it all together and is wise and enlightened. But I really feel like this practice for me is less about like pursuing and teasing out wisdom versus non-wisdom, and more about really seeing the wisdom in everything. Everything that everyone says to me, every song that comes on in the car stereo, where is the wisdom there? And I really believe that we can live like that. The kid says, I want more. Where's there wisdom in that? Your cat wakes you up at 4 in the morning. Where's the wisdom in that? I don't know. I think for me, that's a really inspiring invitation. And it's interesting to see what comes up. But on Fox News, where's the wisdom there? Or for anyone else, put on CNN or NPR. Where's the wisdom there? So yeah, this is all just a big fancy play where we get to really look at all of our assumptions, all of our attachments, all of the ways that we live with achievement and failure. So yeah, use the rest of our day today to just invite what comes up. How do I respond? And what is that? Who is that? If I'm not invited to the party, who wasn't invited to the party? Really? Deep down, beyond the name Bobby, beyond my body, which will rot at some point, beyond my conditioning, beyond my trauma. Who else? Who is it really that isn't invited? Who is it really that fails? I think if we dig deep enough investigating that question, um, the self we encounter will be more immense than we could possibly imagine.